So good morning. And hopefully it'll be like this as we go forward.
Doing, I think it's
We're gonna hold
I think
this
it's a
space.
Facebook
Everybody
thing.
who
I
isn't
don't think it's
working
us.
on the new
Oh,
equipment,
Because I mean,
hold
it's
this
we're getting
space
signal
that
into
we
here
see
because I'm
in
seeing the
her
light blinking. So
coming
that means
into
it's
alignment.
feeding it, but somehow it's not.
Vicky, can you do a test?
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Oh well, you don't have that plugged
This
in
is
now.
a
I don't
test,
think I can yet.
trying to see if we're getting our live streaming going without chirping.
Okay now.
Now it's all okay.
You mean
So we
without
are-
it being plugged in? So
What does
now
that
everybody's
mean?
gonna have to be quiet because it's gonna pick every little thing up.
We're not hooked up.
Yes, I think so.
But you can hear people out in the ethers can hear us without chirping.
Back in.
But everybody's gonna have to be totally quiet because it's gonna pick up everything.
They're
It's
saying
gonna pick up everyone.
They trade.
Please keep the noise level down because we're going not with the internal sound system, but with our mics only. So, we continue to hold our technology and our entire community in heartfelt prayer. knowing each is being guided as to their own timing to return, and I'm seeing technology deciding that being now. We continue to give thanks for the loving connection and strong community bonds that define our beloved UMB community, whether we're together in person, physically distanced, or in separate rooms. So it's been quite a year, full of challenges, opportunities, insights, and growth that obviously continue to unfold in our individual lives and in our community. I know I thought I was going to be retired from ministry before we had to deal with all of this electronic technology and such, and Spirit said, no, you need to learn. And so Michelle and I and this amazing team, Jan and Martha, Huckleberry, Martha, have all been working with us to help us bring our services to you when you were at home, and now we're trying to gracefully transition into a both-and situation, so we appreciate your patience. I'm grateful for our teachings that remind us that there are always blessings in every situation, because God is good all the time. See, you didn't forget. That's so awesome. So let's begin by affirming our unity of Monterey Bay sacred purpose as an inclusive spiritual community committed to co-creating an environmentally sustainable, spiritually fulfilling, socially just, and compassionate human presence on this planet. As we honor the God of each of our understanding and affirm the innate good and divine essence within each and every individual, will you please join me in our statement of faith? There is only one presence and one power in the universe, God the good, expressing as infinite God beyond us, intimate God beside us, inner God being us, divine love in action. And this morning I read from a prayer by Dory Summers called The House for Our Dreams. We, all of us, build houses for our dreams, a solid form wherein we see our hopes, a shelter and protection for our growth. May this house be such a dwelling place for courage, for integrity, for love, engendered, nourished by a family and a community that speaks of we and means all humankind. May these walls represent the privacy and dignity of individuals, the open doors, a welcome to all people, all ages, and all generations. May the windows keep light of inquiry illumining from outside and within. May all words spoken here be born of love, and energy rekindle in the hearts of those who dreamed this house, who applied the tools and paid the price to actualize the dream. May dreaming never cease for those within, who know the world to be a troubled place, but dare to struggle with imperfectness toward the brighter hope, that better day. Let memories add warmth, a heritage, a quilted patchwork stitched with history of kindness, of daring for the good, of funny moments, jokes and smiles and tears. This is a precious place, as is every home that shelters those who love and strive and share. Its blessings is in the lives that meet within, in living, learning, caring, sheltered here. And now please join me in our spring affirmation. I release what no longer serves me.
I release what no longer serves me.
To make space for new opportunities and growth.
To make space for new opportunities and growth.
And so it is. So I have a special request from Joni Caldwell, who asks that anyone who has flower gardens, especially greenery, ferns, roses, and other flowers that can be cut, and would like to donate some to the upcoming Celebration of Life on June 19th for our dear sweet friend Jennifer Jones, please contact Joni about delivering the flowers or ferns to her home on Thursday the 18th of this week. Joni's info is in the directory, or you can email me directly or through our website. Also, if you would like to attend the service and haven't received the specific information, because they are giving a count, you can email me for that information as well. And again, a reminder to check the e-blast about upcoming fundraising events and sign up with our new Unity Fundraising. That's just fun without a D, raising@gmail.com, where you can register for all our special events. There are 5 dinners now in addition to our September 17th banquet and auction, but they are starting to fill up, and one is already full, so check it out and join us this summer in celebration. And now, as we do every week, we take some moments to bless our children, those that are in our lives and those all around the world, and all of the teachers and caregivers and parents who daily support the children of the world. And we especially give thanks for the resilience, creativity, enthusiasm, innocence, and contagious joy that children embody as we join in our heartfelt blessing. We love you. We bless you, we appreciate you, just the way you are.
This bright light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This bright light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This bright light of mine.
So now we again center ourselves and deepen our blissful interconnection with Spirit.
Mike's not on.
Okay, it should still be picking me up though, right?
No, you're not on. Your mic is not on.
It's on.
There you go.
Oh, it was on.
There.
Okay, so something when I moved. All right. Okay, I'm gonna go down here. Can you just, I need this thing.
It goes on and on.
Okay. Okay, wait a minute, you're in. Yeah. Okay, so we again center ourselves and deepen our blissful interconnection with Spirit. Taking a deep breath in and letting it out with an audible sigh. Allowing all distractions to gently fade away as we invite the chime to call us into the sacred space within. We ring the chime 4 times to call in the 4 directions and to remind us of our interconnection with all of creation and with the sacred circle of life. As we feel it resonate through our very beings, we follow its call into this now present moment within. Continuing to focus on our breath, with each inhale, we open our hearts and minds. We envision our breath reaching every cell of our being. And with each exhale, we see all barriers and obstacles dissolving into the divine flow. And again, as we inhale, we expand the spaciousness within us. We move beyond the limitations and boundaries of our bodies. And as we exhale, we ground ourselves deep within Mother Earth and into our oneness with the universe. Finally, we breathe our awareness into the highest expression of love, light, joy, and peace we can imagine, as we experience a transforming wave of gratitude, and with a fullness of heart, we say yes to it all. Embracing, claiming, and knowing the divine Christ Spirit expressing in, through, and as us. And with a final exhale, we say, thank you, God. So now fully centered and transformed by the power of Spirit, we enter into our lesson and meditation time with today's daily word.
We read from today's Daily Word, shared with permission of Unity, publisher of Daily Word, that can also be found at dailyword.com. And the word is world peace. I invite you to allow my words to be your words. Peace shared between people spreads throughout the world. I contribute to world peace when I join in spirit with all people who dedicate themselves to expressing divine love, united in the belief that God is within everyone. I affirm the divinity of humankind and honor each person as a unique expression of God. I recognize and release any unkind thoughts or feelings towards any person or group of people. I respect all others and seek to learn more about customs and beliefs that are unfamiliar to me as I grow in a spirit of kinship. I believe warm, friendly attitude communicates my intentions as effectively as my words. I smile easily and extend myself to others in a spirit of friendship. I remain mindful that as peace flowers between individuals, peace grows in the world. And from the scriptures, nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. Micah chapter 4, verse 3. In witness to the wisdom of the many paths to the sacred, we read from 3 sacred traditions on this morning's topic, living radical love and peace into the world. From Buddhism, if you have a gun, you can shoot 1, 2, 3, 5 people. But if you have an ideology and stick to it, thinking it is the absolute truth, you can kill millions. From Thich Nhat Hanh. From Judaism, do what is right and good in the sight of the Lord, so that it may go well with you, and so that you may go in and occupy the good land that the Lord swore to the ancestors. And from Christianity, what good is it, my brothers and sisters, if you say you have faith but do not have works? Can faith save you? If a brother or sister is naked and lacks daily food, and one of you says to them, go in peace, keep warm, and eat your fill, and yet you do not supply their bodily needs, what is the good of that? So faith by itself, if it has no works, is dead. For just as the body without the spirit is dead, so faith without works is also dead. James chapter 2, verses 14 through 16 and 26.
share a beacon of hope. Make me an instrument, make me an instrument, make me an instrument of your peace, of your peace.
Guide me to give pardon for pain, and where sadness is found, may I bring joy. May I seek to console, to understand, and to share your great love without demand. Make me an instrument, make me an instrument, make me an instrument of your peace, of your peace. For in the giving I do receive, and in pardoning I give receive. For in dying I'm born again to eternal life. Make me an instrument, make me an instrument, make me an instrument of your peace. Make me an instrument, make me an instrument, make me an instrument of your peace, of your peace.
So this morning, we complete this 3-week mini-series on rediscovering the values of Jesus, which is the subtitle of the book, If the Church Were Christian, by Philip Gulley. Again, with Gulley defining Christian as aligned with the true values and teachings of Jesus. Gulley's primarily speaking to a modern expression of the Christian church that has become institutionalized in much the same way the Jewish temple of Jesus' time had become. In short, focused on perpetuating beliefs and rituals that are no longer connected to authentic spiritual experience or to the evolving world we live in, locking us into a law bereft of spirit. This seems to be an inevitable pattern of human life, with our egoic brain systems designed to incorporate new understandings into status quo autopilot responses. And that was created that way so we'd be free to learn something else. Clearly, it's largely a beneficial process. Consider all the things that would take up all our brain energy if we had to think about them. Driving, cooking, typing. Imagine having to think, oh, I need to have this finger go there, or so it's evolutionarily a positive thing that our brains do this. The problem arises, however, when we codify our current understandings and that make us resistant to additional growth and evolution, and thereby stuck in old ways, even when they no longer serve us. It becomes even more troublesome when we codify our beliefs and begin mistaking them for facts. I know none of us have ever said, but that's how I've always done it, right? That's never come out of any of our mouths, but it is a human challenge. The good news is, when we become aware of this human tendency, in essence, when we develop meta-awareness through practices like mindfulness, which allow us to observe and appraise our thinking, we can avoid or at least check the tendency to codify our beliefs. It's what my late husband Rory used to call the hardening of the categories. I haven't heard some of those lines in a while. It just came to me as I was talking about this. I went, oh yeah. The hardening of the arteries in our brain is like hardening of the categories. By intentionally keeping our hearts and mind open to new learning and insights, we can continually question our current answers, wonder, reevaluate, change, and evolve our worldview. Which brings us back to the focus of this series, that is calling us to question, wonder, and reevaluate our understanding of Jesus' values and teachings, and how we can best embrace and embody them within a church created in his name or his legacy. Remembering, of course, that the church is not some place we go to, but rather it is something that we are. At least it is if we're doing it right. And all of this is part of our journey into the way of the heart that involves a multifaceted both and spiritual practice that includes renewing our mystical engagement through contemplative prayer and meditation, evolving our understanding through the study of wisdom, teachings, and scriptures of Jesus and other masters with new eyes to see and ears to hear, and expanding our capacity to love one another beyond our families and tribes, out of our comfort zones, recognizing all beings as our neighbors and caring for the least of us among us. So a quick review of what we've covered so far. This morning I'm only going to address the 10 challenges in the affirmative rather than comparing them to the lacking status quo, at least the first 8. So pertaining to worship, in essence the primary message and manner in which it is shared. We hold up Jesus as a model for our living, and we seek to embody his values and teachings in our daily walk, knowing that we differ from him only in degree of our development rather than in kind. In essence, embracing a style of living that honors the priorities of God, just like the song that we opened up this morning with, doing justice, especially for the least of us, loving and expressing mercy through forgiveness, kindness, and compassion, and walking humbly in gratitude and grace as fully as possible each day of our lives, and thereby bringing God's kingdom or heaven to earth. And we invite questions and encourage personal exploration in order to open our hearts and mind to wonder, mystery, and a healthy acceptance of paradox. And by this we can discover and develop a new way of perceiving, in essence, the way of the heart, that lifts us beyond our binary, ego-based either-or mindsets into a united, radical, love-based, both-and heart set. So pertaining to individual lives, in essence, how we relate to and support one another, Gully offered these 4 challenges. That we embrace gracious behavior, practice inclusive and accepting love, consistently affirm our individual and collective potential, and seek forgiveness and reconciliation to heal whatever separates us from our inherent oneness. In short, we seek to embrace and follow Jesus' commandments to love one another, to love our neighbors as ourselves, and to love our enemies, which requires seeking to align all of our beliefs and actions with loving kindness for all beings and all creation all the time. When we fall short, and we will, because we're still subject to the binary ego mindset, we can practice mindfulness and our heart-mind perspectives to help wake us up. And we can focus on our inherent goodness, calling and lifting ourselves and one another into our intrinsic worth and highest potential, while practicing forgiveness and reconciliation wherever necessary to heal what is broken. Gully's final 2 challenges, completing his 10, pertain to the world. Specifically, he asserts that in a church or a community aligned with Jesus' values and teachings, meeting needs would be more important than maintaining institutions, and peace would be more important than power. Without getting into the sociological weeds about the pros and cons of institutions, and believe me, I went there for a few hours and decided that wasn't what this lesson was about. What Gully is actually saying here is that churches often spend more time and energy sustaining or enriching themselves than in fulfilling their mission. In essence, following in the footsteps of Jesus, as previously described. Gully suggests that this might be a universal given with any institution. Every organization inevitably forgets the values that inspired its start and focuses instead on its own perpetuation. I'm not such a defeatist, but I am aware that we have to be ever mindful and vigilant to be sure that doesn't happen in the organization that we create here. Perhaps the most common example of this challenge is allowing financial sustainability to overshadow the stated mission and purpose of a church. Gully offers various examples of churches confusing responsible stewardship with fear-based decisions, like making growing the church emergency fund the primary goal over responding to the emergencies and needs of the communities in the moment. It's easy to fall into that trap of believing that sustaining the church existence is a necessary means to fulfill a stated purpose. After all, if we're not here, how can we do what we claim we stand for? And it's also easy to fall into the trap of thinking the church is like any other business, which it is not in either case. Unfortunately, in both of these instances, the true purpose often gets lost in the process. I'm truly grateful for the journey we've taken here at UMB concerning our church finances. It's been a long journey, but through it, both I and our leadership council and all the members of the council that have served over the last decade plus have grown spiritually. I remember, and I'm sure many of you do, years of struggle, focusing on the money, including financial reports revealing our deficits on Sunday mornings in an attempt to inspire more giving. Every council meeting was focused on how we could raise more funds to keep us afloat. Again, I know that many of you remember those days. In short, there was a lot of time and energy expended that wasn't purpose-directed. It wasn't with bad intention, but it was that we were driven by fear and focusing on the money. And then we made a shift. We committed to putting our spiritual principles first, to moving out of fear and into our faith and functioning accordingly. It didn't happen overnight, but it happened over month after month after month of continuing to put spirit first. We began opening every council meeting with at least 30 minutes of spiritual study and reflection before beginning any of the business before the church, so that we could ground ourselves in principle and be sure that we were in the right consciousness to do the business of the church. We stopped evaluating growing our church size with our survival and discussing church finances in Sunday worship services. We left all of that for calling of the circle meetings where it was appropriate to share about. And we refocused entirely on spiritual growth, recognizing that it takes many forms that doesn't always look like numbers of bodies in the pews. We conducted an appreciative inquiry survey with the whole community that focused on what we had that kept people coming back rather than on what was missing. And we began to build on that. We held our first annual banquet and auction out of the red and into the black with a black tie theme in 2010. And we dared to ask $100 a ticket. That was a huge barrier for us to overcome. It was proposed to us by James Bogan, who was our prosperity guru, and he challenged us to step into our truth. Previously, we had not wanted to ever leave anyone out, so we'd never charged more than $25 for any event. But we stepped out in faith and offered angel tickets to stay true to not leaving anyone out, and it was a huge success. And it's continued to be a huge success annually. It's our biggest fundraiser, except for, of course, last year. But we're coming roaring back this year for our Roaring 20s theme, and you won't want to miss it. Over the years, other divine ideas came for new income streams, as we recognized that we didn't have to define the source of the income, we just had to be open to it flowing and stay focused on our purpose and mission. For example, there were years with the help of Mike and Brent that we sold donated cars. Then someone proposed that we start doing summer dinner parties. That had become an amazing, again, except for last year, staple, but you can get back into that swing this summer. Then someone suggested, because we have this amazing bingo caller in our midst, that we start doing cook-offs with bingo. And then, of course, our Christmas bazaar. I shouldn't say surprising, but it felt surprising at the time until we were able to claim it as how usual. Some endowments starting appearing in various sizes. One in 2011 included the manufactured home in Castroville that I now live in, which came to us just after I had lost my house to the 2008 housing crisis recession. This and the other endowments, little bits and pieces that always appeared just as we needed them, birthed the expected unplanned income category in our annual budget, where we affirmed our trust in the divine flow to supply our needs so we could remain focused on our mission and purpose, which we affirm every week. Unity of Monterey Bay is an accepting, inclusive, loving, vibrant, and prosperous spiritual community committed to living and demonstrating unity, truth principles, and being in service to the world. We grow spiritually together through prayer, worship, education, service, and participation in compassionate community to bring forth an environmentally sustainable, spiritually fulfilling, socially just, and compassionate human presence on this planet. We purposely keep our mission and purpose up front and visible as a reminder to us all of why we're here. It's led to our involvement with Habitat for Humanity, our local homeless vets stand-downs, the Pachamama Alliance, and now COPA, where as a church institution, we're learning how to effectively organize to make real social justice change within our broader community, which aligns us again with our purpose and mission. There are other ways that religions and churches forsake their core values to protect their institutions, like allowing large donors to influence practices. A few years ago, for example, there was a Unity church that professed to affirm and welcome LGBTQ people. But then I learned it would only perform their weddings in the garden, not in the sanctuary, as that might offend other members. Fortunately, the minister did eventually evolve in his views, and he has since retired. Or, as in our own UMB community, there was once a concern expressed about a cross-dresser member serving as a greeter, for fear they might offend new visitors. Fortunately, that became a teachable moment as well, and our inclusive values prevailed. There can also be the tendency to hide, deny, or ignore institutional failings, as has happened with the Catholic Church's sexual abuse scandals and with the history of systematic racism in so many denominations and churches, including in our own Unity movement. I'm grateful that there is now an intentional effort being made by Unity leadership to fully acknowledge, explore, and acknowledge our history, make appropriate amends, and seek to expand our anti-racism awareness and policies, as we've also been doing here in our own Unity community. Gully's final challenge, holding peace as more important than power, is an extension of staying true to Jesus' values and our calling. Gully notes that religious institutions, because of their historical emphasis on rules and morality, seem especially attractive to persons interested in power and control. And when that's left unchecked, it can lead to abuse of power that not only harms individuals, including the perpetrator, but compromises the integrity and well-being of the entire institution. To counter these tendencies, Gully suggests that the quality of church leadership and authority, be it clergy or lay leaders, should regularly be evaluated on the basis of whether it's being used to build up others or tear them down, with corrective steps being taken as expeditiously as possible wherever necessary. Additionally, again because religion is attractive to persons interested in control, Gully recommends that a vital focus of the church should be to teach and model the appropriate use of our corporate and individual power towards positive ends. In other words, the church should teach us how to use power redemptively to accomplish works of mercy, peace, and reconciliation. Finally, as to the broader context of being peacemakers, Gully states that to truly embody peace, as in loving our enemies, is to hold our citizenship in an alternative community where our weapons of warfare are peace, humility, kindness, and grace. If we sometimes feel like that's sort of I don't want to call it pie in the sky, but it can seem so idealistic to think that those things work. But we witnessed the power and effectiveness of such weapons wielded by leaders like Gandhi, Martin Luther King Jr., and Nelson Mandela. But Gully concludes that so many American Christians continue to view military might and power as appropriate tools in the struggle for a transformed world indicates an abject failure to steep ourselves in the alternative view of Jesus, succumbing instead to being conformed to the world. A church committed to the values and teachings of Jesus is called to be a light of peace in a world that struggles with violence and hatred. Gully suggests that we should, in a very real way, be laboratories of peace, practicing and modeling principles of forgiveness, reconciliation, and understanding among ourselves, and then inviting and equipping the world to do the same. It's quite a calling, and to be honest, I'm no longer certain the church, as we know it in our country, is up to the radical change that is required to revive it. But then Jesus never set out to create a church anyway. Rather, he called us into a new way of being and loving and living together, awakened to and grounded in the unitive wisdom of our hearts. I love the word of Margaret Mead, who said, "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has." And so even as I'm often overwhelmed by the challenges before us in our world, I'm ever grateful for our small but mighty UMB community, committed to supporting one another in walking our talk, living our truth, and making a difference in our world. I'll close with this bit of wisdom from Desmond Tutu. Do your little bit of good where you are. It's those little bits of good put together that overwhelm the world. Namaste.
that time in our service now where we have an opportunity to spend a few moments in quiet contemplation, in quiet communion with the God of each of our understanding. So wherever you are, I invite you to begin to bring your awareness to this moment, to this body, to this breathing. Just bringing your awareness into your body and feeling that gentle inhale and exhale of your breathing. As you become more aware of your body, begin to relax the muscles, letting your shoulders fall away from your ears, unclenching your jaw, relaxing the muscles of your face, and just allowing yourself to sink more deeply into the surface beneath you. As you let go of all those thoughts that are constantly being generated by your mind, seeing them as clouds floating across the sky of your mind. Each time you notice one, you can just watch it float by, knowing that you don't need to go there right now. You can pick it up later. Right now, we are simply practicing being. And as we practice this being in the moment, allow whatever is coming up for you to simply be there. Whatever feelings, sensations in the body, emotions. See if you can welcome them all. Rather than resisting them or pushing them away, see if you can whisper a gentle yes to yourself. Yes, this is what it's like right now. Yes, this is what I am feeling in this moment. Yes, this is what is alive in me right now. See if you can deepen that yes. Opening yourself to embrace this moment just as it is. Not resisting or trying to change anything. Just allowing everything to just be in this moment. And as you feel that grip begin to release, that resistance begin to loosen, allow yourself to just feel the relief of that. Nothing to do, nothing to fix, nothing to change. Breathing into the heart space, simply say yes to all of it. Allow it all to belong. Allow it all to be included, just as it is, in this moment, as you rest gently in the silence. So as we begin now to bring this time of formal meditation to a close, I just invite you to remember what this yes feels like. What this acceptance and this non-resistance feels like in the body. And as you go about the rest of your day, see if you can bring a little bit of that acceptance and that yes to each moment of your life, to whatever presents itself to you today.
All beings know love. All beings know peace. All beings know love. All beings know peace. We are love. We are peace. All beings know love. All beings know peace. All beings know love. All beings know peace.
And so we close this time of prayer with gratitude for this moment of sharing, for this community that supports us, for this beautiful day that the Lord has made. We say, thank you, God. Amen.
Unity of Monterey Bay is the collective consciousness and commitment of all of us who give of our time, treasure, and talent in order to sustain this spiritual community that is dedicated to transforming lives. We know that prosperity is a state of mind that finds blessings in every situation and abundance in joyous generosity. We transform all appearance of fear or lack into a faith-filled peace of mind by shifting our attention to thoughts of gratitude for the abundance of God's good in our lives. And with our hearts and minds overflowing with gratitude, we breathe into the divine flow of God's good, trusting that we are enough, and that we have enough, and that there always is enough to both have and to share. And again, we are grateful to all of you for your online giving through our website at unityofmontereybay.org and through your mailed-in offerings, including those who have set up automatic giving with your banking institutions. We are truly blessed. And for those of you here in the sanctuary, the baskets will not be passed up and down the pews. They are stationed at the back of the room, so you're welcome to drop off your offering at the end of the service. And now, from this place of faith and gratitude, I invite you to join me in mindful intention and joining in our offertory blessing. I am an open channel for God's infinite good. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies everything I give and everything I receive. I am both blessed and a blessing. Thank you, God.
We are a part of
Karen Taylor Good and Sue Riley. And we also want to thank Jim Strafty, David and Barbara Tralley, and Richard Burdick for their music today. And of course, our awesome music team, and having Richard and Devin and Sue and Marianne with us today, we are grateful. So as we bring this service to a close this morning, we are so grateful that all of you have joined us, both in person and watching our live stream, and we hope we've made you feel at home here in our Unity of Monterey Bay community. And we want you to know that wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you are welcome here. You can submit your prayer requests via our unityofmontereybay.org website. There's a prayer request link there. And as always, our prayer chaplains continue to meet weekly and hold all of those requests in prayer. And so we give thank you for our chaplains' service. And we know that we are a prayer-conditioned church. And on a day like today, we might need it. So with all of that, we're ready to form our closing circle and our prayer for protection. You know, when it gets over 65 degrees in Monterey, it's a heat wave. We're like, oh, dying. So holding our beloved community this morning in our hearts, all of those on our prayer request list, all of those who are in need of prayer support this morning, all of those places in our community and around the world that are hurting, we hold them in prayer and send out this loving energy that we've generated this morning into the world to bless all of them as we say our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. And the presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is